let's look at different forms of financial instruments which are traded in the financial market. First of all, equity securities. Equity represents ownership interest in the firm. Secondly, debt securities. Debt represents liabilities for the issuer. Finally, derivative securities. Value of the derivative securities depends on the value of their underlying assets or securities. Let's look at equity securities first. The principal form of equity security is ordinary share or common stock, which is issued by a publicly listed corporation like Escort Pharma, Best Pharma, and so on. There is another type of equity security, which is preferred stock. Preferred stock is also known as hybrid security because it resembles the characteristics of both debt and equity. For example, holder of a preferred stock is entitled to receive fixed dividend, which is very much similar to a fixed interest payment of debt. Let's look at the basic characteristics of equity securities. First of all, investors of equity securities will receive dividends if dividends are declared by the board of directors. Secondly, investors will receive capital gain or loss if they sell their securities in the capital market. Finally, there is no maturity date for equity securities. Now we look at debt securities. The basic characteristic of debt is that it must be paid by the issuer to the holder of debt securities, and the holder of debt securities is entitled to receive interest payments and principal amount at maturity. Let's look at the basic characteristics of debt securities. First of all, investors of debt securities receive interest. Secondly, investors of debt securities receive capital gain or loss if they sell their securities in the financial market. Finally, debt securities have maturity date, whereas equity securities do not have any maturity date. Finally, we look at derivative securities. A derivative is a financial contract which facilitates the firm's risk management. For example, one can use derivative securities for interest rate risk management. There are four types of derivative securities, which are future contract, forward contract, options, swaps. Let's look at the basic characteristics of debt securities. Derivatives are financial contracts, and this value is derived from the value of its underlying assets or securities. Secondly, derivatives can be used for risk reduction and speculation.